Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, here with fellow football game plan analyst Chris James, and we're at the 2019 Reese's Senior Bowl. Chris, day one, practice number one, South team practice. Let's talk overall takeaways from today's practice. Day one, again, it was a little bit wet. Let's start with the offensive side of football. Who were some of your standouts?
I mean, you got to start with the guy who's going to be the signal caller. You got to start with Tyree Jackson. He was the guy that showed the most pop with his arm. He looked like a big league player. And also, when you look at the wide receivers, I like Gary Jennings and what he did today. He was a guy that looked like the conditions didn't affect him. Day one didn't affect him, and he stood out. What about yourself, Emery?
I like Tyree Jackson, man. I just like what I saw from him, throwing the football, attacking every quadrant of the field, deep, intermediate, short. He looked accurate. He was decisive. He got rid of football on time. So I thought he did a really good job. As far as receivers, I love his teammate Anthony Johnson. He did a really good job catching the football. You talk about Tyree Brady catching the football really well, and also Deebo Samuel, who was able to work himself open deep down the field. I thought he did a really good job today in one-on-ones.
Deebo Samuels looked like a #1 receiver on an NFL team out here. It just looked smooth, effortless. It looked like he was ready to be here from the first snap.
In the backfield, obviously, I got to go there. But when you talk about running backs, you talk about guys that can make things happen and being a complete back, and that's Bruce Anderson for me. I thought Bruce Anderson of North Dakota State and the FCS National Champions did a really good job showcasing his ability to get down the field with acceleration and also finding the football in his hands, catching the football. So any other guys on the offense side of the ball stood out to you here on the South Squad?
I think everyone did the job they were supposed to do. Those were the biggest standouts for me, personally. Looking forward to day two and the chance for those young men to show what talent they have, because we know they have it.
On the defensive side of the ball, I look at the secondary first. I want to start back in the front end. I thought when you look at cornerback Rock Ya-Sin, he was the one. There were a lot of good play in the secondary. Guys were really aggressive.
Yes.
Press skills were on point. Guys were able to get in the face of the receivers, but I thought Rock Ya-Sin was able to win most of his one-on-one matchups and was doing it consistently with his hips, his hands, and his feet.
He won at the point of contact. I was actually shocked to see that he was smaller, or measured smaller than he's listed, coming in at around 5'11". But yeah, he stood out. Moving forward, I think David Long out of West Virginia showed some pop for a guy who's a smaller linebacker. On the front line, did anyone stand out to you from the defensive line?
Well, to me, it's one of those days where you have guys, that come in, and everyone right now is trying to get their footing. Everyone right now is trying to find their way. So I thought everything from the O-line and D-line was more along the lines of what we're supposed to see, standard practice. Guys are just trying to fill themselves out. I know next practice, even though, give it some credit, one-on-ones, Titus Howard, Alabama State, outstanding. Here's the thing about Titus Howard. He only gave up 1 sack in his college career, and I think when people see him play, they'll be very impressed with what he brings to the table from an athleticism standpoint. And playing in the SWAC, this is a guy that got a lot of reps as far as in pass rush. And in one-on-ones, I thought he was able to handle the bull rush really well, was able to absorb and redirect. That right there was impressive to me from a guy playing on the offensive line, playing in the SWAC in the same state.
And I'm going to stick with the defensive line. I'm going to go from the edge. Montez Sweat looked dominant. Quick, but also he could bull rush. It was very frightening to see what he could do to some of those offensive linemen out there. And also, Kiki Kingsley actually showed some quickness for a guy who's plus 300 pounds. So I like what both the young men put out there. Again, hopefully carries over for the rest of the week.
Let's hope tomorrow we have a better weather day. I know it's supposed to rain, it's supposed to be storming, but let's hope it's dry, and that way everyone can be out there and be their most effective self, and therefore we can get the true gauge of what these guys can bring to the table here in this all-star practice, man. So thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on all our social media accounts, and also don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network, located at youtube.com/footballgameplan.